Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever you are, Full-Fire Gamers. Welcome back. It is that time of year again. It's time for another top 10 of the most recent cards, the best cards from the most recent set coming out, which is Marvel Superheroes. Very excited for this set. I love Marvel personally, and I think this set is sort of bucking the trend that have been from the last few UV sets, where it seems to be quite good, quite flavourful, and there's a couple of cards which have impact across a few different formats. So without much further ado, before we get started, just a reminder that you can get all your singles and sealed products from Full Fire TCG in the Gloucester Docks, available in store only. Get yourself Marvel booster boxes, collector boxes, commander decks, collector decks, you name it, he'll have it. Get yourself down to the docks, get yourself some great product. But we're going to start with a news section called Cards from the Community. So, new little section I've done is before I did this video, I've asked everyone what cards they're excited for, and if they hadn't picked a card that was in my top 10, we were going to talk about it. The caveat was only that it's for 60 card constructed formats. So anything from vintage, pauper, legacy, all the way to standard. So, without much further ado, this one comes from Giles. He says he's excited about the Fantastica, which is a free colorless for a legendary artifact vehicle. Has flying, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have the Fantastic card become an artifact creature until end of turn. Whenever you cast your fourth non-creature spell each turn, you may sacrifice the Fantastic card. If you do, create a 4/4 colorless construct artifact creature tokens with flying and haste. And it's a 4/4. Not that that's going to matter too much. So why is Giles excited about it? Well, Giles specifically called out the power level of vintage, and there was a certain card called Mistress Workshop, which lets you play the Fantastic card on turn 1. So all you need to do is cast 3 more non-creature spells that turn, and you will have 16 power coming through damage on turn 1, which is pretty powerful, even for vintage standards. This is quite easy to go Fantastic Car, a Mox, some sort of card draw, Brainstorm, Ancestral Recall, whatever, and then like one other thing. Like it's not that difficult, especially in those like shops decks. They're playing a lot of zeros, a lot of ones that you can cast off of your zeros. So should be quite a powerful inclusion to Vintage, which is not something we get to say very often. And you're welcome, Charles. Vintage has been mentioned. Next card is Avalon. Avalon has called out Quicksilver Brash Blur. He's a 1 red for a 1/1 legendary creature mutant hero. And he has the leyline text. If he is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with him on the battlefield. He has haste and he has power up, which is a new mechanic from Marvel Superheroes. It's 4 and a red, but a +1/+1 counter and a double strike counter on Quicksilver. So you may activate that ability only once, a bit like Monstrous, or you may reduce the cost by the mana cost of the creature if he entered this turn. So Avalon specifically called out the nonsense you can do with Colossus Hammer in. I presume he's thinking about Modern, but you can also do this in Pioneer also. So nice little inclusion. Maybe going to be hit for 11, maybe more early doors. The next card is called out by Jamal, which is the Mole Man. That's the card, not Jamal. The Moloid Master is a 3 mana legendary creature, human villain, and he may play lands from your graveyard. He's a 1/1. And then landfall, whenever lands you control enters, create a 1/1 green minion creature token called Moloid. When this token attacks, you may mill a card. So Jamal specifically called it out because it's a sort of card he likes. It makes creatures. It mills. It's got the land from the graveyard text. You can do some nonsense with it. It's a green creature, so of course Jamal likes it. And also he likes when people call him Jamal. So very good. Right, now moving on to the list proper, we've got my honourable mention. Now, my honourable mention is Bruce Banner. Is 1 blue for a legendary creature, human scientist hero, and he's a 1/1. For XX, you can tap him, draw X cards, activate only as a sorcery, and then for 6 mana, you can flip him over to the Hulk, which is just an 8/8 dumpy creature with some other text that, to be honest, doesn't really matter. You just care it's an 8/8. So why am I interested in Bruce Banner as an honourable mention? It's giving me shades and like real shades of Tameo from Modern Horizons 3, where it's a 1 blue legendary that draws cards. Is this as good as Tameo? Absolutely not. But like, if you're just looking for more of these effects to turn on, Mox Amber, for instance, or you just really want to be able to draw extra cards, then this is your guy. Now, don't get me wrong, drawing cards at sorcery is not great. You like much prefer to do it at instant speed. But this is sort of like when you ordered Tameo off of Temu. This is what you received. And what else can you do with it? Well, in Pioneer, you can cast Release to the Wind, and you can get a 8/8 on turn 3, or quicker if you can play this on 2 with like Mox Amber or like some sort of mana ramp, that sort of stuff. And then in Standard, we still have Shiko. Shiko stocks have risen. There's plenty of creatures in this set that transform into a bigger creature on the back. So Shiko is really good at scamming them. We also still have Jace Reawakened in the Standard for now. So he can also help by plotting these sort of cards. You got the ones from Spider-Man, you got the ones from this set as well. So that's my honourable mention. And moving on to number 10. So number 10, I have the land cycle from the set. This, as you maybe have seen in a few other sets previous, I try not to have these in the top ranking where I can, because it's really boring to just go, these lands are going to be really good. So I try to have these like a low place or honorable mentions, so we can talk about actual cards rather than the land base, unless it's like a really interesting specific land. So while I think these are a lot better than number 10, this is where they are because I want to talk about more interesting cards. But yeah, these seem fine. Like I'm not sure what people are calling these yet. I'm going to call them the Marvel lands for now. They're the ones that tap for a colourless or a colour if they've entered that turn, or if you control a basic land. Anything that incentivizes you to play more basics, I'm happy, because that generally means these will fit in 2-colour decks, not 3+, 4+ coloured decks. And these are all colours that desperately needed another land. So Black Red was struggling with just Shock, Verge, and Surveil. I think it didn't have much else, so Black Red's happy now. And yeah, lands are good, but don't sleep on lands. Lands help you cash your cards. So I do like that these don't incentivize you to play cards during your opponent's turn. Very much are incentivized to play the cards, use the lands as soon as you play them, which is nice. It's nice. Like this probably makes this one, the blue-white one, a little bit worse because it's generally the control colors. Maybe even so the blue-black one. So the more proactive colours will like these. Right, in number 9, first card proper. So in number 9 we have the Mighty 4 Jane Foster. She is a blue and a white and a 1. For a legendary creature, human god hero. It seems every creature has at least 3 types, so Cavernous Soul, Stonks, Rising. You're bound to have something that crosses all 3. And then it's a 3/3 flying. Whenever the Mighty 4 attacks, exile up to 1 target non-token artifact or creature, then return that card to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. When an equipment you control enters, draw a card. Not so worried about the last line of text, more so than I am the other line of text, which is when it attacks exile and to blink. So this has shades of Felia, sort of a standard Felia. And like the body's fine. It's an evasive threat as well. I've put up Quantum Riddler here because this will be like cheese and wine, cheese and crackers, anything that pairs nicely with cheese. Because Jane Foster is going to be choosing out your Quantum Riddlers. So, a normal sort of, flow of events will be turn 3 play Jane, turn 4 Warp Riddler attack, Blink Riddler, you've drawn 2 cards, and you still potentially are going to be able to use a removal spell as well. Like, great. Also, probably good in the Momo decks because she is a non-lemur, and she is, even though she's got a million creature types, she is not a lemur, and she has flying. So, you can play Momo on 1, you can play Jane on 2, and then you can start the blinking on turns 3 onward. Maybe there is some part of this that you can make work with, maybe like a Cryptic Coat style deck. But I think just like this in the standard sphere is going to be pretty good. Like none of this rotates come January, so like this is still going to be good going into next standard season. In number 8, I have the Arc Reactor. It's a 5 colourless artifact with Improvise. This artifact enters tapped, and it adds 3 mana. So, Dave, why have you put up Fran Dynamo? Well, Improvise does a lot of heavy lifting here. You being able to cast your spells for cheaper than they actually are costed is always historically broken, or at least extremely powerful. It's not out the realms of impossibility in standard, well, not less so standard, but modern, where you can potentially play this turn 2, going into turn 3, you can have anywhere between 6 plus mana, which is phenomenal. And I've put Manifold Key here as well. There's also another card, Voltaic Key, which does a very, very similar thing, which is just pay 1 to untap an artifact, and it's a 1 cost, so you can find them off of Urza Sagas. They're relatively cheap to cast and help with improvising, and they just make you have more mana when you use your Arc Reactor. I've also put Psi Massive Opterist here. That is just because like any token generator will work nicely with Arc Reactor and like, Manifold Key and stuff. This could be any token generator. I've just put Psi up for display purposes only. But what you do after you get all that mana, and that's the sticking point, is you have to build a deck that both wants cheap artifacts and big artifacts to cast Arc Reactor. There's some bits and pieces I've been messing around with that I've not quite come to a place where it's quite good enough yet. But I do believe Arc Reactor is really, really strong, and potentially, even if it's not strong, like it's greatly powerful now. I think this will be great into the future, and eventually something will break it. Number 7. So number 7, there's been a bit of a theme for this one and the last one, the next one. So I'm sorry about that, but fortunately these are the cards I like the most. So number 7 we have Castle Doom. Now this is a rogue one for me. So it's a rare land that adds taps for colourless and taps also for 1 mana of any colour. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell. Pretty good. This is we played Spider of Industry before. We played Glimmer Void before. This is the Glimmer Void who tells you not to worry about. And then 3, sacrifice an artifact, create a 3/3 colourless robot villain artifact creature token named Doombot. Activate as a sorcery. So why am I excited for this? Well, we have weapons manufacturing in standard, and this is a land that just uses your weapons manufacturing tokens to turn them into 3/3s and also deal 2 damage. That's phenomenal. Shades of Legion Extruder, which was something that was this sort of list was already doing. And then you've just got the more sacrifice outlets you can get for manufacturing, the better, because usually what you find is you maybe sack 1 or 2, and then you're like, so okay, pass, and then go back to your turn, blah, 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 blah. And it ends up being quite slow, whereas this maybe speeds it up quite a lot. Outside of that, like, just being able to tap for any colour of an artifact is fine in an artifact-centric deck. And then at some point, like the game's going along, all right, let's sack my junk and start making 3/3s. So I think it's good. I think it's very sweet. Definitely a standard artifact deck. If there is one, this is going to be in it. Whether it sees play further back than that, I'm unsure. But Modern has quite a lot of junky zeros, and especially Modern Affinity doesn't really care about casting non-artifact spells. It's got a handful, but you know, one Castle Doom is going to move the needle on that. So yeah, card sweet. And then carrying on with the artifact theme, because there was some very good artifact cards in this set. We have the Armor Wars, which is a red and a blue and 2 for a saga. So 2 and 3 don't matter, basically, in my mind. Number 1 is what we're looking at, is you may draw a card for each artifact you control. If you do, each opponent draws a card. Cool. So you go, well, that's a bit rough for constructed, isn't it? You know, you're making your opponent draw a card. That is until you consider that Armor Wars actually reads, you draw 15 cards and your opponent draws 1. You don't care. You know, in standard, modern, pioneer, whatever, we have Pinnacle Emissary, we have Ravenous Robots. There is 3 ways in standard right now that all see play in modern. Ravenous Robots sees a bit more fringe play, but it does see play in the Affinity deck, of making artifact tokens for cheap. You know, Pinnacle Emissary obviously makes drones, Ravenous Robots makes 1/1 robots, and then there's munitions. There's another one, Forensic Gadgeteer, which does the same thing, but it makes clues. Like, there's so many ways you can make artifact tokens to double up your artifacts, and especially when you get back to, even in Pioneer, you've got things like Ornithopter, Springleaf Drum, ways to like play quote unquote zeros. And when you get back to modern, there's a lot more true zeros. That just basically mean like you can draw an absolute buttload of cards with Armor Wars. Like this is all flavor text as far as I'm concerned. Like, it probably will come up in certain games. Like, this probably helps in the standard versions more so, where like you're trying to play stuff like Ravenous Robots, Pinnacle Emissary, and then like some colorless cards and some ones and stuff, so that should help. And then this bit, like if you're flooding the board with stuff, it's very unlikely you're going to be doing much damage with this, and most it's going to do sort of 2-3 damage. But I think being able to draw that many, if like the fact you draw 1 card for each artifact is just pretty cracked. Like, it's like usually I've, you know, a couple of maybe tests I've been doing with the card of showing it drawing upwards of 5 cards on turn 4 to 3, depending on when you play it. So yeah, I think Armor Wars is going to be great. Depends if, again, like these last 3 cards, it depends if there is a standard artifact deck. If there is, then those cards will, I guess, would be role players. Number 5, finally moving away from artifact synergies for a moment, we have King T'Challa. So Dan, if you're now wondering why you didn't get featured in the first part of the video in the community thing, this is why. This is already on my list. So King T'Challa is a blue, a white, and a 1 for a legendary creature, human, noble hero. He's a 3/2 with flash. Ooh. Whenever a player draws a second card each turn, you draw a card. Then it transforms into King T'Challa, which is a 3/3 that prevents all damage, has double strike, and draws cards when it deals damage. So why do I like King T'Challa? Well, it's a 3 mana 3/2 with flash that cares about your opponent drawing extra cards. You know, there's the Azorius High Noon, Azorius Prism, whatever you want to call it. Like, I call it High Noon Troll. In standard, that uses stuff like Ang, so you can play King T'Challa and then cast Ang, airbend this, and then play the backside if you really want it, which is pretty phenomenal. And then like it's got Shades of Fairy Mastermind, so there's a lot of interesting things where it's like if you draw your second card, you draw a card because it just counts all players. So King T'Challa should mean you're drawing like plenty of cards, and like I guess that's how like the High Noon decks tend to lose, is they get out card advantaged when they're playing 1 spell a turn. You know, let's say your opponent's spells are also drawing them a card alongside it. That's how they tend to fall behind. But King T'Challa should mean you are kept firmly in the money with some cards. But yeah, seems like a sweet card. Past sort of standard, I don't really see much application, but there's potential. People draw cards in Modern, Pioneer, and what have you. Number 4. Okay, this is a card I really wanted to put higher, but I couldn't do it. But and you'll see why. So we have Jennifer Walters. She's a white and a 1 for a 2/3 legendary human advisor hero. And your opponent can cast spells during your turn. That's it. You can transform her. She's a 6/6 that says the same text and has some other part about when a creature takes damage, blah blah blah. Don't care. We'll care about the front side. This is a 2-mana 2/3 that has the Voice of Victory text. Now, I'm not a great fan of lots of these effects being in almost every single set. I'm a big fan of nuance and making people play around your cards rather than just being like, no, you can't do that. No, I don't like that. Why? It's just these sort of effects just do annoy me because they're only ever used by decks that are abusing them in some way. It's never like fair decks using them. So, while I'm not a great fan of these, I will use it because, well, I'm not going to not use the tools available to me. But why, when Voice of Victory isn't standard, and it's probably considered a little bit better because it hits for 3 damage and the tokens have some synergies, why would I care about Jennifer Waters? Well, 8 of these effects is good. The High Noon Troll deck does like to have Voice of Victory, so it having up to 8 of these effects, you probably don't play 4 of these, but you'll probably play some amount so you're consistently getting Voice of Victory effect down. So yeah, we'll like that. The other deck that will like it is Kefis. I know, Kefis mentioned. Kefis likes this in Modern because it is a legendary creature, so you get the effect of something without having to impact your legendary count. The deck already plays some amount of Teferi, which is obviously better, but this is still quite good, simply because it's cheaper. It's a 2/3. You play as a creature, and then your opponent needs to remove it then, or you can potentially combo the following turn completely unaffected. You can play this on turn 1 with a good hand. I've done plenty of playing the 2-drop sideboard bullet against the deck. I remember I played a winner box one time with Kefis, and my opponent went turn 1 Utopia Sprawl onto a forest, and I knew they were playing Eldrazi Ramp, so I was potentially facing down the turn 2 Karn. And I went turn 1 Tameo. No, I didn't go Tameo. No. I went turn 1 Mox Amber, Mox Opal, Mistress Bauble, tap 2 lands, cast Lavinia. So this is very easy to play on turn 1, relatively simple. So I think Kefis is really going to like this. It's just ways to sort of remove the opponent's ability to interact with you on your turn, and that improves the blink matchup somewhat. So yeah, excited for this card, specifically for Kefis. Not excited for it in standard, where there's going to be 25 of these running around. But other than that, card's sweet. Number 3, it's another artifact synergy. I promise. I think this is the last artifact payoff in this set. So we have Ironheart Clever Champion. She is a legendary artifact creature, human hero. She is a blue and a 4 for a 3/4. That's quite a lot of mana. But then you realise she has improvise. So your artifacts can help you cast a spell. Each artifact you tap after you've done activating mana abilities pay for 1 generic. So this isn't really 4. This is 2, 3 at most. She then has flying, and then non-creature spells you cast have improvise. That is a crazy line of text. Literally insane line of text. So I put up a few cards here, like Khan the Great Creator. Anything that's like a non-creature spell with a generic cost will generally work pretty well with Ironheart. And I've put up Godfather's statue, but this is just like any generic big stuff you can work with. Um, there's a few things I'm working on with Ironheart. Like I'm not sure if she's going to be like amazing, but she seems very sweet at like playing like maybe a prison style deck with her, where you can have all these artifacts you want on the battlefield, and then you can tap them to cast your other artifacts to do this, to do that. It's all very, very cool, very interesting, and like this is just a crazy line of text to have, and it just turns all these colorless cards into like cost reduced by like 3 to 4, and it's like insane. And she's an artifact, so like you can do stuff like play her the turn and improvise the same turn. Very sweet card, very powerful card. Um, I think it'll just be how you build her and how you can sort of get this effect without playing like a deck where you've got lots of big stuff and then lots of small stuff, and you like jamming them together and hoping you see the right half when you want it and the other half when you don't. But yeah, very cool card, very interesting. Number 2, we have Bang Chi, mate, the Master of Kung Fu. He is a green and a 1 for a legendary human warrior hero. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. Sorry? I beg your pardon. Add 2 mana of any one colour, spend this mana only to activate. Yeah, we don't care about that part. But it being giving basically all your activated abilities haste is phenomenal. We used to see Roots play Tyvar, and this is 2 mana Tyvar, which basically means Roots can probably come back in standard in some form. This works well with Badgermore Cub and Elves, because the elves enter the battlefield, we tap them for 2, they then pay for the next elf, which ends up for 2, and like if you can find a way to draw cards, like I think there's Champion of the Perfect in Lorwyn Eclipse, like you can maybe do like a elf ball style deck with Shang-Chi basically being your mana battery. This is like the most obviously good card in the set. I think it will do quite a lot in standard and maybe a little bit further back in modern, depending on what the decks are trying to do. But yeah, very strong card for standard. Right, number 1. What is my number 1? This one might surprise you because we've seen mythics, we've seen rares, we've seen all sorts. But my number 1 is actually an uncommon. And that number 1 is Hex Magic. So it's a red and a 2 for an arcane sorcery, which is something we haven't seen in a few years. Exile all cards from your hand, then draw that many cards. Until the end of your next turn, you may play cards exiled this way. So why am I so excited for this card? Well, it's an arcane spell, which means you can splice onto arcane. Now there's fun stuff you can do, or there's good stuff you can do, like splicing Desperate Ritual onto this to make it a 5 mana spell that gives you a 3 mana rebate, which means it's technically a 2 mana spell, which if you then cost reducing it is technically a 1 mana spell. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is going to be draw like 4 or 5 cards, and like when I first read this card, I was like, oh okay, this Wheel of Fortune, except you're exiling the cards, no discard synergy, blah blah blah. You still can cast the cards you exile, so you just actually you basically say draw as many cards as you do have in your hand, just carry on. Yes, you can't then continue to splice with Desperate Ritual, but I still think it's incredibly powerful. And yeah, so this is where we're talking. It is Storm. Storm uses Desperate Ritual. Once already was playing some of these effects as lands, which are the Valakut Awakening style effects. Yeah, Storm finally gets a chance to be good. Get W. I don't really have too much to say other than like it's a very obviously powerful implant in Storm. But yeah, so thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and final reminder, you can get yourself all your singles, sealed product, at Full Fire TCG, down in the Gloucester docks. Get yourselves booster boxes, collector boosters, commander decks, collector commander decks, jumpstart, anything you want, you can get it there. But without further ado, hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you may be. And this is Dave signing off.